أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم رب اشرح لي صدري. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I trust everyone is doing well. Apologies for my video being off, currently load shedding on my side. بإذن ta'ala, inshallah, everything will go well. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. Welcome to everyone to the Muslims Connected Conversational Arabic. Inshallah, the book that we'll be studying is called Al-Arabiyyatu Bayna Yadayk, Arabic Between Your Hands. The book has 16 chapters. Inshallah, this will be the first level. To complete the first book, we will require approximately 4 levels, depending on all of our abilities. And thereafter, we would move on to book 2. So basically, book 1 focuses on gaining vocabulary in the Arabic language. So breaking the ice, gaining all the basic vocabulary and all the basic language structures, including the verbs and how the verbs work, the different contexts, all of those things will be covered in book 1. In book 2, you'll be exposed to more difficult comprehensions, and also that is where grammar theory will be introduced, inshallah. So the Arabiyyatu Bayna Yadayk is a tried and tested method to teach the Arabic language. It was designed by the best minds in Arabic and the best minds in education put together, and they came up with this excellent curriculum. Alhamdulillah, so far we have the first batch of Muslims Connected students. Will be starting book 2 tomorrow, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, they reached a very high level. All that it takes is consistency, really consistency, and that is the main ingredient. Inshallah, this class is the first level specifically is focused mostly on just gaining the basic vocabulary that we need. Each dialogue will build on the previous dialogue in terms of vocabulary. So as you go through the dialogues, you will just learn more and more and more vocabulary, and will also serve as a revision. Inshallah, in this level, after each dialogue, we will also do lots of exercises just to make sure that we all understand, because mostly it's the vocabulary that we want to reinforce in this level, inshallah. Just as a reminder, like I said in the group, inshallah, the classes will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The classes will be at 8 p.m. South African time. So in whichever time zone you are, you just want to double check on Google, just type in South African time to Turkey or to whichever country you are in, and it will tell you that Turkey is 1 hour ahead of South Africa or 1 hour behind, and then you'll be able to calculate from there. So all the lessons will be recorded, and the link will be shared in the group after the lesson. All the learning materials will also be shared in the group, sometimes before the lesson and sometimes after the lesson. You will have time to go through the exercises again on your own. Okay. Okay. If you have any questions, you can post it in the Q&A section. Hopefully throughout this course, at this level, inshallah, it will become more, it will be more interaction. As we use the breakout rooms, there won't be any breakout rooms in this session. We're using the webinar. And without further ado, we'll begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so the first chapter in Al-Arabiyyatu Bayna Yadayk deals with greeting and getting acquainted. So all the vocabulary in this chapter will more or less be around this theme, greeting and getting acquainted. Bismillah. So the learning objectives of this lesson, inshallah, firstly, we will be learning 16 new Arabic words. And we'll be looking at also some basic and important language structure. The first thing is how to say your. So if we have a book, how do we say your book? How do we say my book? Your name, my name. Right, so we'll be looking at those things. We're also looking at how to say my, right? So that's also there. And also we'll be having a very brief introduction into the masculine and feminine context in the Arabic language. Okay, let's have a look at the vocabulary first. You have a question. Okay, so the host is answering the questions there. Okay, so I will add there. Right, so someone asked also how much time is this? So this level will be 12 lessons, Bismillah ta'ala, 12 lessons to finish this level. Each lesson, the allocated time we have maximum of 1 hour. However, usually in the first level specifically, and especially in the beginning, the first few lessons, the classes will be between 30 minutes to 40 minutes, and sometimes maximum an hour, but around about a minimum of 30 minutes. Okay. Okay, the first word we have in the first dialogue is as-salam. The word as-salam means peace. Apologies. As-salam means peace. If we say as-salamu alaykum, and alaykum is the second word that we're learning, it means peace. Literally, we can translate it as peace upon you. That would be literally. However, when we work across languages, sometimes we have to fill in the gap. So peace be upon you. Assalamu alaikum. So this is the greeting, not only in Islam, but also Arabs in general, right? So even if you meet an Arab non-Muslim, you could still greet him at Assalamu alaikum. This is the greeting in the Arabic language. Okay. Ismun means a name. The word ismun means a name. Right? It could be anyone's name, just a name. So now, this will introduce us to the first language structure. How do we say my and how do we say your? Because we want to say my name, your name. Okay. If you look at the word ismi, now this word over here means my name. My name. So, if we have any word, or we take in this word in particular, we add a ya at the end. E. The word becomes my. So ismun, ismi. A name, my name. Kitabun, a book, kitabi, my book. Okay. The next word is ma. So after you say your name, assalamu alaikum, ismi, Yasin. My name is Yasin. Ma ismuka. Right, so ma means what? There's another word. The word ma means what? Okay. Now let's look at the next word. So we did ismun, means a name. Ismi, my name. Now we're learning another language structure. Ismu ka. Ismu ka. So we add this ka the letter kaf, the fatha, ka, at the end of a noun, and then we have your. Your. So this would be ismuka, your name. Now here we want to mention something very important. Let's take, for example, in the English language, if I am speaking to a male and I want to say, what is your name? In English, I would just say, what is your name? If I was speaking to a female, I would say it exactly the same. What is your name? No difference. In the Arabic language, they differentiate between males and females almost all the time. So if you are speaking to a male, you would say, ma ismuka, ismuka. However, if you are speaking to a female, you would say, ma ismuki. Okay, so the ka, if you are addressing a male, and the ki, if you are addressing a female. Ismuka, your name, the male. Ismuki, your name, the female. Okay. The next word we want to learn is kaifa. Kaifa means how. Kaifa. So you can use this word on its own, right? For example, someone says, well, it's I came first place at school today, and you're shocked. You say, how? Kaifa. Or you could use it in a sentence. For example, you want to say, how are you? Okay, so kaifa means how. The next word we want to learn is halun. Halun. Okay, halun means condition. Condition. Right? So, for example, sometimes they even use the word in this way. So, for example, if you want to sell me a phone, I can ask you, and it's a second-hand phone, what is the hal of that phone? Like, what's the condition of that phone? Okay. Halun means condition. Now, in the Arabic language, when you want to ask someone, how are you? Literally, we ask, how is your condition? Okay. So someone asking a question, just bear with us. I'm going to break down the concept of your after we do the vocabulary. Okay, so halun means condition. So in Arabic, if you want to ask someone, how are you? Literally, you kind of asking them, how is your condition? So you would say, kaifa haluka, if you are addressing a male. Haluka means your condition, if you are speaking to a male specifically. Your condition. You know that because of the ka. Kaifa haluka. If you are speaking to a female, then just like we said with ismuka, your name, the male, ismuki, your name for the female. The same with halun. Haluka, your condition for the male. So you see the M stands for male condition. And haluki, your condition for a female. So if I am speaking to Muhammad, for example, I would say, Assalamu alaikum, ismi Yasin, ma ismuka. My name is Yasin. What is your name? And I would say, ismuka. If I was speaking to a Fatima, I would say, Assalamu alaikum, ismi Yasin, ma ismuki. What is your name? Ismuki. And if I want to ask, if I'm speaking to Muhammad, how are you? I would say, Kaifa haluka? How are you? And if I was speaking to Fatima, I would say, Kaifa haluki? How are you? Okay. The next word we're going to look at is the word bikhairin. Bikhairin. The word khair on its own, khair means good. Khair means good. So you can use it in any situation. For example, someone tell you, I'm coming at 5 o'clock. You can say khair. I mean, fine or good. But sometimes they say the word with a bi in the beginning. Bi khair. So it also means, the word bi literally means with. So if you translate it literally, right? Will literally mean like we look at letter for letter, word for word as it is there. It means with good. So it means like I'm doing good, I'm surrounded with goodness. But when we translate it into English, we're not going to translate it literally in letter for letter, because sometimes there are letters that we just don't translate. So the word bikhair simply translated as good, or I'm good. Okay. Another word we're going to look at is alhamdulillah. So this is more of a phrase. Alhamdu means praise and thanks. Lillah, lillah means is for Allah. Praise is for Allah or to Allah or belongs to Allah. Many various translations that it can go. Praise is to Allah, praise be to Allah, praise belongs to Allah. Alhamdulillah. This is also a very important phrase in the Arabic language. You can say Alhamdulillah all the time. For anything, someone could say, the teacher came, you say Alhamdulillah. You can say it's break time, Alhamdulillah. You can say you pause, Alhamdulillah. You can say, how are you? Alhamdulillah also. Okay. The word wa means and. So wa is a letter, right? It's a letter, but it's also a word. It means and. So for example, if I ask you, كيف حالك? If I ask Muhammad, كيف حالك? How are you? He would say, Alhamdulillah. And I want to ask, you want to ask me back, and how are you? So you'd have to use the word and. You would say, وَكَيْفَ حَالُكَ? And how are you? Now, that being said, we have all the words we really need to form that basic dialogue. So, however, there's another two words, it's very important. The word anta. The word anta means you. However, in English, whether you're speaking to a male, you would say you. If you're speaking to a female, you also just say you. Not the case in Arabic. In Arabic, if you are speaking to a male and you want to say you would say anta. Anta. So the word anta means you, specifically if you are speaking to a male. If you are speaking to a female, you would say anti. Anti. You. That's if you are speaking to a female. Okay. So sometimes what they say is they say كيف حالك? كيف حالك means how are you? But sometimes they add also the word anta. Now the word anta also means you. So sometimes you see that in a sentence, وَكَيْفَ حَالُكَ أَنْتَ, then you think it's a repetition. And how are you, you? Right? So that's fine. In Arabic, that usually happens. Words are usually added for emphasis, right? For example, someone asks, how are you? And you tell them, I'm fine, and all of this, and been well, and week's been busy. And at the end, you ask him, but how are you? Tell me about you, right? So it's more that kind of, sometimes that kind of emphasis. Okay, so we covered all the words that we needed to cover. Let's look at the concepts that we learned in this vocabulary. So the first concept that we learned is how to say my. So we take any noun, and for example, we use the word ismun, which means a name. If I want to say my name, I'm going to add this ya at the end. But this ya is a ya which is a vowel, so it's a ya mad. So we're going to add a kasra before that ya. So the last letter of the word, instead of having a dhamma, ismun or isman, whatever is on there, take it away, put a kasra on the last letter, and then have a ya mad. You're going to elongate that kasra. Ismun, a name. Ismi, my name. Ismun, a name. Ismi, my name. Ismi, my name. Right? So that's kind of you can say as a rule, add a e at the end, and the word becomes my, whatever noun it is. Baytun, a house. Bayti, my house. Okay. So coming to the question, okay, someone asked a question, why is the what is your name different between a male and female? That didn't make sense. Yes. So in English, we don't differentiate between males and females generally when we speak. However, in the Arabic language, the difference between male and female is very clear in almost all the time you are going to be speaking Arabic. You're always going to be differentiating between masculine and feminine. Always. So, for example, a female doctor would have a word, a male doctor would have a word. It would be more or less the same word, but there'll just be an addition in the female context. Male teacher, female teacher, always differentiating. And also when you are speaking to a male, when you are speaking to a female, you would also adjust the way you speak. Okay? So like we said, the word you has two Arabic words. It's either anta, and that's if you are speaking to a male, or it's anti if you are speaking to a female. Similarly, if you're speaking to a male, you have to ask, you have to say the concept of your, for example, your name, your name. So if I say my name is me, it doesn't matter if I'm male or female, it's still going to be is me. However, when I want to say your, I have to see, am I speaking to a male or speaking to a female? So what happens? We take the word ismun, a name, and I want to say your name. First look. If I want speaking to a male, I would add a kaf or the fatha at the end of the word. And obviously the tanween would fall away. So it's not ismun, it's now just ismu. Ismu. Because the tanween can only exist at the end of a word. Okay, so ismu ka, your name for the male. Halun, condition. Haluka, your condition, if I'm speaking to a male. So that would be kind of the rule. When you are speaking to a male, you have to say your. You take the word, which is a noun, and you add a ka at the end. If you are speaking to a female, you take the word and you add a ki at the end. Ismuki, your name, speaking to a female. Halun, haluki, your condition, if you're speaking to a female. And that would summarize, basically you can say the rule there of saying your when speaking to a male and when speaking to a female. I hope that is clear. Okay. Anyone having any problems so far with what was discussed in terms of the vocabulary and the concepts that we spoke about now, how to say my and how to say your? Is everyone fine so far? We have questions? Okay. Everything seems to be fine. All right. So the next, before we move on to the exercises, which is very important, the most important part of this, we want to do a slight, just kind of a practical, just to make sure that we understand all the vocabulary and how it's used. Okay, someone's asking a question. Earlier you mentioned adding a ya to make it female. Now you're only using kasra. Okay, so brother Shakil, so what you are referring to when, if you look at the screen, we add the ya to say my. To say my. So if you have the word ismun, means a name, you add the ya to make it my. Then you say ismi, my name. Right? So that's the concept of saying my. What you are speaking about is when we want to say your, which is the slide you see in front of us now. That's when we differentiate. So we add a kaf with a fatha, so not just a kasra. A kaf with a fatha at the end of the word if you are speaking to a male, and you add a kaf with a kasra at the end of the word if you're speaking to a female. Let us know if you still have a problem with that. You can repeat it again, but hopefully it will clear up in the practical. So what we need now, we just need a few, we need just two at a time, volunteers, just to read for us, right? So one would assume there's two people here having a dialogue. One is Khalid, the other one is Khalil. All the words is what within what we discussed and learned. If there are any volunteers, you can just raise your hand just to read. So, right, so one will be Khalid, one will be Khalil, just so that we can have a practice. So we have Brother Sulaiman, Jazakallahu khair. And we have, okay, so Brother Sulaiman, you can unmute. And then we have,
Okay.
let me see, Adil Sambo. Okay, Jazakallahu khair.
Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Okay, so Brother Sulaiman, I can't hear. Okay, let's see. Can I hear you now? Assalamu alaikum, Brother Adil, Brother Sulaiman.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, excellent. Jazakallah khair. Okay, Brother Sulaiman, can you be Khalid? So can you just read the Arabic and then just read the translation with that? Make sure we have the translation in there. And Brother Adil, you can be Khalil. Is that good?
Naam.
Naam.
Jazakallah khair. Okay, Brother Sulaiman, tafaddal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
اسمي خالدي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي خليل.
كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟
بخير والحمد لله.
Excellent. Jazakallah khair. Just stay with us. Let's ask some questions because we didn't do the translation. The word Ismuka, Brother Sulaiman Sultan, what does the word Ismuka mean?
اسمك means your name.
Yes. Is that if you are speaking to, are you speaking to a male or a female in that context?
I'm speaking to a male.
Okay. How do you know? Is there a sign in that word?
No, there is on kaf there is a fataha.
Excellent. Brilliant.
No.
That's a correct answer. Jazakallah khair. Brother Adil, can you tell us the word? Let's see the word anta. What does that mean?
Anta means you male.
Excellent. Another word, haluka. What does that mean?
Haluka. How are you?
Yes. So those, but if you are you speaking to a male or a female in this context?
A male. Because you say
A male.
haluki.
That would be for a female, right?
Yes.
Jazakallahu khair. 10 out of 10. Jazakallahu khair. Shukran, Brother Sulaiman, Brother Adil, participating with us. Jazakallahu khair. Okay. We need another two. Just another two. One more demonstration before we continue on to the exercises. Okay. We have Assalamu alaikum. What is your, okay, we don't have a name there. We just says user. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So brother, how are you? What is your name?
Alhamdulillah, Umar.
Umar, brother Umar. Okay, we just need one more volunteer. Any volunteers? Okay, the no volunteer, brother Umar, I would go with you, right? So you can be, I'll go first. I'll be Khalid, and you can be Khalil. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Ismi Yasin. Ma ismuka?
Ismi Khalid.
So you can use your real name.
Oh, Ismu Umar.
كيف حالك?
بخير والحمد لله.
Continue.
وكيف حالك أنت؟
أنا بخير والحمد لله. Jazakallahu khair, brother Umar. Can we just ask you one question? The word بخير, do you remember what that means?
Yes, with good.
Excellent. And the word كيف?
Is how.
Jazakallahu khair. Very well done. Shukran, brother Umar.
Afwan.
Okay. Let's move on to the exercises. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to need you to get ready in the chat, right? So now you're going to chat. It's going to be multiple choice. So you can just type in the letter, right? The answer that you choose. And obviously no pressure. We're all going to learn from each other. Bismillah. Okay. The word kaifa. What does the word kaifa mean? Choose the correct translation. Is it A, what? Is it and? Is it you? Okay, so I think we're quite unanimous here. The word kaifa, does the word kaifa mean? Okay, so almost completely unanimous. Indeed, the word kaifa means how. Correct. Anta. Does it mean you, female? Does it mean how? So look closely at the word anta. Does it mean you, female? Does it mean how? You, male? Or does it mean good? Okay, excellent. Very well done. Jazakallah khair. Almost unanimous again. Let's look at the next one. The word ma. Does it mean a name? Ma. Does it mean and? Does it mean how? That's what, so those who are typing in the Q&A, so type it in the chat so that we can all see. Just make sure. Okay, perfect. That one was unanimous. Halun. Does it mean a name? Does it mean and? Does it mean condition? Does it mean good? Absolutely phenomenal. Excellent. That's correct. Ismi. So you take note over here, right? So ismi. Does it mean your name? Does it mean what? Does it mean your condition? Does it mean my name? Take note of the structure of the language. Okay. This one is totally unanimous. Landslide. Okay, correct. Haluki. Haluki. Does it mean your condition for a male? Does it mean your name for a female? Does it mean my name? Does it mean your condition? Absolutely unanimous. And look at the word wa. Here's a simple one. I'm sure you all remember this one. Excellent. Did we get one there? Right. Everyone is right. So that's an easy one. Anti. Your condition. You female. You male. Or does it mean what? Absolutely unanimous. Ismuka. Does it mean your name, female? Some of you are going to get this wrong. And I was wrong. So this is unanimous. Okay, so yeah, some of you, right? So we have been looking at a 99% accuracy. Okay, excellent. Your name, male. It's correct. Okay, Ismun. How about just Ismun? Absolutely unanimous. That is C, a name. Okay, Bikhairin. Yeah, this we know because the one brother got it right. We also mean you. Absolutely phenomenal. Ismuki. Let's see Ismuki. Take a close look, right? Don't get confused, right? We have Ismuki. Is it your name? Is it my name? Right, so yeah, so that one's a bit, but I'm quite amazed. MashaAllah. Excellent. Okay. Here we go. Let's move it to the sentence. كيف حالك? كيف حالك? Is it what is your name? Is it how are you? Female. Is it how are you? Male. Right, so you have to look closely, right? You have to look at those kaf at the end. Does it have a, is it a ka or is it a ki? Excellent. 99% on that one. Let's look at ismuki. Ma ismuki. Is it what is it where are you? Is it what is your name? Female. Is it how are you? Male. Is it what is your name? Absolutely phenomenal. وَكَيْفَ حَالُكِ? This one you want to have a really close look. Right, so this one you want to have a close look at this one. Right, so yeah, so excellent. Right, so we're already having a few mix-ups. So let's have a close look. For those who are answering D, have another look. Right, sorry for that, my sound was off. Right, so remember over here, if you are speaking, if you say my name, it has to be that E at the end. But this one is not my name, this is your name. So it's either a ka after the word ismun, or it's a ki. So if you're speaking to a male, it's ka. If you're speaking to a female, it's ki. And correct, those of you answering D, that's correct, right? So it's ki, your name. Okay, how about my name? My name. Right, so my name, remember what we're adding at the end? Right, so take note, my, we're adding the E at the end. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, yeah, let's look at the shorter words. You, male. You, male. Is it halun? Is it anti or is it anta? Anti or anta? You, male. Excellent. Absolutely phenomenal. Anta. What is your name? What is your name? But take note of the context. Are we speaking to a male or are we speaking to a female? In this context, you are speaking to a male and you say, what is your name? How would we say that in Arabic? Is it ma ismuka or is it ma ismuki? Let's see. It's ma ismuka. Correct. All of you will be answering D, which is all of you basically. Correct. Okay. Another word. You, female. You, female. Absolutely correct. The easy one. Okay, here we go. Your name. Your name. If you are speaking to a male. Your name. So now, again, we're seeing the word your. So now we want to know, do we say ka at the end or ki at the end? If you are speaking to a male, you say ka. If you are speaking to a female, you say ki. So in this case, we're going to go with absolutely correct, ka. right? So most of you are absolutely generally correct, right? For those who answered B, so the word is not condition, right? I'm not saying your condition, otherwise you would have been correct. Here we're saying your name, okay. A name, right? So this is a simple one, a name. Not your name, not my name, not his name, just a name. Absolutely correct. And let's look at the word good. The word good is the word good. Halun, is it anta, anti, is it kaifa? Absolutely correct. It's bikhairin. It's correct. The final question, the easiest one. Word what? What? So don't get confused between the word and the word what. You're using Arabic words. Yeah, so someone got confused with and. So have a closer look. Those who answered A, have another look, because the word wa means and. Absolutely correct. Okay, so that is absolutely phenomenal. Right, so those who said the screen is cut off at the bottom, apologies for that. Apologies for that, but perhaps you could try to zoom in on your side. Okay, excellent. Okay, alhamdulillah. So that brings us to the end of the lesson. Alhamdulillah, our power is back on. We can have some video. Okay. Do we have any questions on the lesson? So that brings us to the end of the first lesson, bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So the future lessons, and I must say, everyone did excellently well. Alhamdulillah, I believe that you all met the learning objectives that we set out in the beginning of the lesson. Alhamdulillah, we all know the vocabulary, and I think the concept is quite set in. If you're still struggling with the concept, I think you can just go through the notes again, and if need be, you could even go through the lesson as well, the recording, and that should solve all the problems. Obviously, if you have any questions, you can ask now. Anything you don't understand, you can also send me a message. I'll also be happy to help you there. And inshallah, I want to emphasize how important it is in this journey. It's just about consistency, because we learned about 16 new words now. So the classes will really be going like this. Later on, as we get more, as we really get good at memorizing vocabulary, we might move at a faster pace. We might do more than one dialogue. Sometimes we'll do more than one dialogue at the later stage. Sometimes do even 3 dialogues at a much later stage. And and it's just about that. When it comes to book 1, it's just about learning all the vocabulary, being patient, right? So I know some of you are studied Arabic before. Many of you haven't studied any Arabic. Some of you studied quite a bit of Arabic. Some of you studied a lot of Arabic. And I must say, throughout the courses that we always had a wide spectrum of students. The students who studied advanced Arabic, they have a lot to benefit. However, you have to be the most patient, because we will be going step by step, right? So we cannot speak about Arabic grammar, in the beginning. So we'd have to be patient for that. But we will speak about Arabic grammar, especially in book 2, we approach Arabic grammar head on, right? So we face Arabic grammar in book 2. However, in book 1 is more vocabulary based, very important, but not only vocabulary. We'll be learning a lot of concepts in the Arabic language that is usually learned in grammar, but we're learning it from a conversational approach, right? So we're learning it naturally. Okay, let's take some of the questions. If the word kaf is added to a word indicating your, is it still necessary to include anta in that sentence? Right, so very good question. So the answer to that is, it is not necessary to include anta in that sentence. However, you can include it just for emphasis if you want to, right? Just to, like I said, some emphasis in your speech. Like when you say, someone asks, how are you? I say, I'm good. And how are you? Right? So it's just kind of emphasis that you want to know how they are, right? So you're just emphasizing on you. So you don't have to add anta at the end, it's optional. Okay, hope that answers that question. Someone asked, is it possible for you to include the transliteration? Okay, so that let me look into it, right? Because generally the prerequisite is usually the ability to read the Arabic text. However, I do recognize the importance. I am recognizing the importance of including transliteration, just to expand the opportunities to those who haven't had the opportunity to learn Arabic reading, right? So I would look into it, but I would also add, right, for those of you who cannot read the Arabic text, I do have another course that it is already pre-recorded. It's on YouTube. It's free and it's accessible to anyone. I did an entire course on Arabic reading from scratch, right, from knowing absolutely zero, from looking at the letters, right, as just scratches on a piece of paper, to actually reading sentences. So you could also message the admin, you can message myself, and we'll share that video with you. Okay, can you say كيف حال without adding the kaf at the end? So you can, but then you would say كيف الحال. How it's normally people speak like that sometimes. كيف الحال, or simply read as كيف الحال. That means how is the condition? How are things, right? But then you wouldn't be saying yo. Okay, so but if you want to say how are you, then you would have to add the ka or ki at the end. If you just want to say how's it or how's things, then you can say كيف الحال. So when is the next class, right? So those of you, you can just write it down. Classes will be on Tuesday and Thursday, so every Tuesday and Thursday until the 16th of August at 8 p.m. South African time. So currently it's 8:49, right? So whatever time zone you're in, you can just look at the time now and backtrack 49 minutes, and that's when class will start on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what we'd usually do is send a reminder in the group about an hour, 2 hours, about 2 hours, 3 hours before the class, and say the reminder class is happening. And after the class, I would usually also send the link to the recording of this class, right? So I would say the link to the recording of this class, and I would also share the slides if there is. So the slides that I will share would be the slides without the answers, right? The green answers. Okay, I would be seeing the slide. Why is that? Because I would like you to find the answers yourself and then highlight it so that you have your own answers, right? So you should just have a careful look for the words, right? So if you don't, so you wouldn't need kind of a memo. You just have to go back to the vocabulary list and you'll be able to identify the correct word. So will it be a new lesson? Absolutely, will be a new lesson. On Thursday, we'll be doing a new dialogue. A new dialogue, the same structure, more or less the same structure. It would be a new dialogue, there will be new words, and there will be, sometimes there will be a new concept, and sometimes we'll just reinforce the concept that we learned before. But I want to say this. So right now, you know 16 new Arabic words, for those who learn for the first time. In the next dialogue, we'll be learning more Arabic words. However, the words that we learned in this dialogue, we will not emphasize them in the next dialogue. So these words, some of them will be in the coming dialogues. However, we won't relook at it. So you would see there would come a time, right, we would be doing a new dialogue, and the dialogue has 200 words. However, the new vocabulary is only 10 words. So we learn 10 words, but however, when we read the dialogue, and then we'll see, mashallah, how many words you actually know. So as you go along, you get through the chapters, chapter 10, chapter 12, and you start to see how many words you know. So we're also going to be introducing verbs. That will be later on in chapter 3, the end of chapter 2, actually. We would start with the verbs, but slowly, everything is slowly, bit by bit. And so some verbs in chapter 2, some verbs in chapter 3, and some verbs in chapter 4. When you come by chapter 10, then we included present tense verbs and past tense verbs in all the contexts to say you are sitting, I am sitting, he is sitting, she is sitting. We're going to learn all of that, inshallah. Okay, so if I miss the class, how do I catch up if recording is not adequate? So the recordings will always be available, inshallah, unless something terribly goes wrong. And so far, I don't think anything ever went wrong before. Perhaps one or two classes out of like 100 classes that something went wrong and we don't have a recording. But generally, we always have the recording to always be available, and we will send it to you. And if you don't have it, let us know and we'll send it to you. So the next class I emphasize is on Thursday, the same time. Thursday at the same time. Bismillah ta'ala. If you're not in the group, please make sure that you are in the group. Afwan, jazakumullahu khair, everyone, for the messages. If there are any questions, you can still forward your questions. Okay, and one thing I want to add also is that as you continue through, if you stick it through, when you get to book 2, you see book 1 is vocabulary. Book 2 is when we start to, and not only vocabulary, a lot of verbs and everything, you know, but by the end of book 1, you would start to see your ability to read the Quran with understanding will seem very, very, very close by the end of this book, right? So like we said, this book is divided into about 4 levels. It can be done in 4, but the maximum of 5, between 4 and 5 levels, depending on the ability of the class, and your level would have drastically improved from where you started. Okay. Jazakumullahu khair. Shukran to all the well wishes. If there's no other questions, we will end here and we will meet on Thursday. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. I'm glad you enjoyed the classes. Any questions, any concerns, do let us know. Other than that, fi amanillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.